If you have a quarterback, you have got a chance. So with that being said, who are the teams that have a chance to make a lot of noise on a national level because of who they have at quarterback? Now, this is not going to include teams like a Texas or a Georgia or a Oregon. All those schools have phenomenal quarterbacks, but I think some of these teams are a little bit more quarterback dependent, and you look at them very differently by nature of what their quarterback could do in 2024. So starting at the first school I want to talk about here, Tennessee, with Nico Iamaleava, is going to be a force. And to me, Nico being the number one player in the class of 2023, not quarterback, number one player in the class of 2023 for us here at On 3, he is the difference between going 8-4, maybe flirting with 9-3, to being a team that could legitimately win 10-plus football games and be in the college football playoff. Physically, he has all the skills you would ask of a big-time quarterback. He's got the size, got the arm strength, got the accuracy. A thing that stood out to me, though, when we saw him in person out there in Knoxville, his mobility and the way he throws on the run, like that was one of the first things that jumped out to me. He moves so fluid and so smooth, but he flips his hips, rolling left, throwing right, and he delivers that ball on a dime with great velocity, on time. Like, that's going to be a major factor in Tennessee's offense in 2024. Because you saw that a lot in 22 with Hendon Hooker, with him being able to extend plays and then being able to call quarterback design runs. Didn't have that as much with Joe Milton. You'll see that in 2024 with Nico running the show. We've seen what this offense can be when you got the guy at quarterback. I think you got the guy at quarterback in Nico, and I think you got more weapons for him to throw the football to. So go ahead and book it. Tennessee has got a chance as long as Nico is what I believe he very much could be in 2024. Miami. They got a quarterback, and you view them totally differently because of who they got at quarterback. There is no shade I'm going to throw at anybody on Miami's roster or in that quarterback room or who was in that quarterback room, but Cam Ward changes the complexion of what you hope for as a Hurricane fan. Maybe a better way to say that is Cam Ward changes the complexion of what you expect as a Hurricane fan. So I tell you what, it does not take long. You pull up the tape from what he did at Washington State and Cam Ward, like, dude is special. And it's one thing to see that on YouTube and to watch the highlights and all that. It's another to hear everybody in Coral Gables internally echo that sentiment and just say, yeah, he's different. Yeah, he's different. Physically, alpha personality-wise, he's different than what we've had here at Miami under Mario Cristobal. And so I love his ability, yes, but I've said this many times. I love the fit for Cam Ward about as much as I love his ability at Miami. Because Shannon Dawson, we've said it a couple times here, his scheme, to me, fits Cam Ward like a glove. Because, one, they want to attack you horizontally. Does Miami with Shannon Dawson, meaning they want to get the ball in the perimeter, they want to get it out to Restrepo in space and let him cook. Those throws, while on the stat sheet or when you're watching them on TV, they don't look like they're, big-time throws, quote-unquote, because you're only throwing it about a couple of yards in front of the line of scrimmage, if that. But those are really difficult throws because the spot has to be perfect and where you put the football to allow a guy like Restrepo or JoJo Trader or Sam Brown to catch it and then be able to make a play after the catch and get upfield. Like your margin for error is very, very small there. Cam Ward, when I got to watch him, consistently placed the ball in the right spot for his wide receiver. And he also, you look at the stat sheet, like he was 66% completion percentage a season ago in Coral Gables. So he's got the juice there. Massive opportunity for him. Massive opportunity for Miami because, as we've mentioned many times, like the ACC is wide the heck open. Wide the heck open. Florida State, they're going to be tremendous again this upcoming year, but a lot of unknowns on their roster in terms of returning production. We'll see what DJU is. Clemson, I've been pretty vocal. I don't know what they're going to be. I like the young weapons, but I don't know what Cade Klubnik's going to bring to the table. It's wide open. And wide open for Miami, I think, with their quarterback is a good thing. And I think when you look at Cam Ward, he is the reason why you would pick Miami to win the ACC, if that's the way that you're leaning right now. Now, Alabama, to me, is a team that has a chance because of who Jalen Milroe is. And now Alabama, the roster, it's solid, man. Like, do not hear me incorrectly. Nick Saban did not leave the cupboard empty for Kalen DeBoer when he left Tuscaloosa. There are some dudes still on that roster. But you look at the offense, got some good skill players, but you lost your top 3 receiving leaders from a season ago and your top 2 rushers. So there's some production to be made up for. Also defensively, again, a lot of talent, a lot of young bucks as well. They bring back 33% production from that defense from a year ago. And so I mention both those things because with the unknowns and the newness on the defensive side of the ball and with the skill players, you're going to ask more of your quarterback. And to make matters even more emphatic, like Kalen DeBoer runs a quarterback-driven kind of system. They're going to make Jalen Milroe throw the football, I think, more than he did a season ago. They're also, in my opinion, going to play more to his strengths and set him up better as a passer. So he was good last year. He accounted for 35 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards total offense, 66% completion percentage as well for Jalen Milroe. I believe they're going to put more on his plate. And I think if you had a different quarterback stepping into the fold for Kalen DeBoer, with what they lost previously based on the returning production on defense and the lack of players they return at the skill level that I mentioned already, I think you would feel very differently about Alabama than if you had Jalen Milroe playing quarterback for you, as you do, fortunately, if you're a fan in Tuscaloosa. Like, he is the guy that I believe holds Alabama's college football playoff destiny and SEC title destiny in the palm of his hand. I've been very vocal. I think he's a Heisman finalist this year. I think Alabama will be able to thrive in year one under Kalen DeBoer because of Jalen Milroe. You got Jalen Milroe, you got a chance. Missouri, another team that we should talk about here a little bit more. Brady let him cook is one of my favorite quarterbacks in all of college football. He threw for over 3,300 yards last year, 21 touchdowns, 6 picks. This season, he will have even less margin for error because they bring back less on defense. They got 58% production back on defense. And you're also going to have a new coordinator on defense. So that side of the ball is in some ways not hitting reset, but hitting reacclimate in some ways. And you also lose a 1,600-yard rusher in Cody Schrader. Now, this was a team last year that was 55% run. So they would lean on Cody Schrader, obviously, by nature of his numbers and by nature of how they called that offense. But with that being the case, with what you lose, you're going to ask more of Brady Cook. Now, Luther Burns a dog. There's no mistake in that. But I do think that there's something to be said now for Brady Cook and asking more of him for Missouri to be a team that competes to get to Atlanta, competes for a college football playoff spot, as I think a lot of folks in that fan base are expecting. So you have a chance because of Brady Cook. He's a guy that excites that fan base and for good reason. I'm excited to watch him play. I think he's one of the more slept-on quarterbacks in college football. But because you got Brady Cook at Mizzou, you got a chance. Last one I want to talk about here, let's go out to Big 12 country. KJ Jefferson transferring from Arkansas to UCF. And who's going to be calling plays for him but Gus Malzahn? Now, Gus Malzahn also called plays for a big-body quarterback by the name of Cam Newton when he was at Auburn. And I want people to hear me very clearly. I am not telling you that KJ Jefferson is Cam Newton. What I am telling you is they have a similar skill set in terms of things they do well and the kind of plays you can call for Cam Newton and you called for KJ Jefferson. Quarterback power, read option, design quarterback runs, all of those different nuances that I think blend well with KJ Jefferson's skill set, I think Gus Malzahn is familiar with handling with Cam Newton. Now, there's a lot of talk around Utah and Arizona and Oklahoma State, and like for good reason, Kansas State. I mean, for very, very good reason. Like those are all good teams, and in Vegas should be getting a lot of buzz around who is and isn't betting on them to win the Big 12. But KJ Jefferson now played against tougher competition in the SEC. They don't have Kansas State on the schedule, no Oklahoma State on the schedule. They get Utah and Arizona at home. I think he could be the guy that elevates UCF to Big 12 title contention. Now, he's got to stay healthy. They've got to hit the ground running. But based on his ability, and I think the way this marriage is going to work with Gus Malzahn, if UCF is in that conference title mix, it's because of KJ Jefferson, and I feel confident they will be in that conference title mix because of what he brings to the table. So, teams that have a chance because of their quarterback, Tennessee, Miami, Alabama, Missouri, and UCF, you got a quarterback now. You have got yourself a chance. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.